Hello everyone. I'm very happy to see you again in my video. Today I'll continue telling you the story about the single mother, Du Han. I hope you all enjoy watching. This morning while at the market, Han happened to stop by a familiar meat stall. On the wide wooden table, among all kinds of beef tripe, marrow bones and fatty brisket, she suddenly spotted a very large beef stomach, pinkish white and fresh. The vendor eagerly invited her, while several women standing nearby exclaimed, "It's rare to find such a beautiful piece of beef stomach like this." Han gazed at it and a thought flashed through her mind. If I buy this and make a few delicious dishes to treat my friends and family, everyone will surely be happy and surprised. She smiled, bargained briefly, and decided to buy it. But once the package was tied up, she realized it was far too big and heavy to carry home alone. Thinking for a moment, Han pulled out her phone and called Tan. Tan, I just bought an amazing beef stomach, but it's way too heavy for me to carry. Could you come by the market and help take it home? Not even 10 minutes later, Tan arrived. As soon as he saw Han holding a bulky package in her arms, he couldn't help but laugh. You're really something when it comes to shopping. But beef stomach? Honestly, I've never eaten that before. Sounds unusual. Han blinked in surprise, her eyes lighting up with excitement. That's perfect then. This time I'll let you try something new. If prepared properly, beef stomach is delicious. I plan to cook 3 dishes. Steamed with green peppercorns for aroma, a sweet and sour salad for crunch, and a nourishing herbal stew. Sounds tempting, doesn't it? Tan shook his head, smiling, his eyes sparkling with curiosity. It does sound interesting, but I still can't imagine what it tastes like. Just remember, this will be my very first time, so don't disappoint me, okay? As he parked his motorbike, Han lightly touched the handlebar and said confidently, "Don't worry. I'll surprise you. Once you taste it, you'll never forget it." They loaded the hefty package onto the bike. On the way back, Han eagerly described every preparation step. Soaking the stomach with ginger and coarse salt to remove odor, blanching it briefly before cooking. Tan listened carefully while driving, his heart fluttering with both anticipation and curiosity, like he was about to discover a whole new culinary world. I'm really curious. Who knows, after today, beef stomach might become my new favorite dish. Han laughed softly, her clear voice ringing in the morning sun. Just wait. I promise today you'll have a memorable food experience. In that moment, both felt a simple joy spreading within them. For Han, it was the happiness of preparing food with love for those she cared about. For Tan, it was the excitement of tasting something completely new, both strange and promising. The stomach was so large that even holding it felt like a burden. Tan looked around, then chuckled and shook his head. If you carry this in front, it'll block the handlebars, too dangerous. Let me tie it to the back instead. Honestly, it looks like I'm transporting a calf. He pulled out a small rope from his bike's compartment, tying careful knots and tugging firmly to secure it. Han watched, giggling with her hand over her mouth. You're right, look at that. People passing by will probably think we just bought a whole cow. Tan laughed too, but his eyes shone with a hint of pride at his handiwork. Once everything was set, he teased, "This is the first time in my life I've carried such a massive package. Hopefully nobody stops to ask. Otherwise I won't know how to explain." Han tilted her head. Her cheeks flushed from the sun and his playful words. "That's easy. Just say you're bringing home a treasure. A culinary treasure." The motorbike roared to life, cruising down the narrow road. Behind them, the bulging package bounced lightly with the ride, catching curious glances from passers-by. Tan felt both amused and thrilled. He had never experienced anything quite like this. Transporting something that looked like a baby cow, just to try a dish he had never tasted before. Meanwhile, sitting behind him, Han's heart brimmed with joy. She imagined the moment when they would step into the kitchen together. The aroma of peppercorn, ginger, and lemongrass filling the air, and Tana's astonished face as he took his very first bite of the crunchy beef stomach. The thought made her smile endlessly. When they got home, Tan untied the package of beef stomach from the motorbike seat, and the two of them carried it straight into the yard with some effort. Once set down, the enormous bundle nearly filled the large basin Han had prepared in advance. Beside it, she had already laid out all the tools: coarse white salt, freshly pounded ginger, a few stalks of green lemongrass, and a pot of steaming hot water. Han's tone was serious, though the corners of her lips curved with excitement. "Put it here. Just rinsing the outside isn't enough. We have to cut it open and scrape all the residue inside before it can become a proper dish." Tan crouched down, staring at the mound of stomach that filled the basin like a giant tray. He frowned and asked hesitantly, "Cut it open? That already sounds a bit gross. How are you so used to this kind of thing?" Han didn't reply right away. Instead, she picked up a sharp knife and sliced a long cut along the edge. In an instant, the thick layer of inner residue was revealed, pale and lumpy. Calmly, she flipped the stomach inside out, scraped off the buildup with the knife, then used her hand to rub it clean, her movements swift and practiced. This is the most important step. If it's not scraped thoroughly, the smell will remain, and no one will be able to eat it. You have to be patient. Rinse it again and again with salt, ginger, and hot water until it turns white and firm. She spoke as she worked, like a teacher explaining a lesson. Tana's eyes grew wide. He tried to help by holding one end, but the moment his fingers touched the slippery surface, he flinched and dropped it, laughing awkwardly. "Oh my, it's as slippery as soap. If I had to do this myself, I'd never finish." Han giggled, her hands still working quickly. "Don't worry, I'll do the scraping. You handle the water. Add the salt and ginger and stir it up for me. Working together will be faster." Encouraged, Tan joined in. He fetched buckets of hot water, poured them into the basin, and stirred in salt vigorously. Each time Han finished scraping a section, he rinsed it clean, watching the murky water drain away with a sense of fascination. Every now and then he asked curiously, like a child, "Why do you have to scrape it bit by bit? Isn't there a quicker way?" "No shortcut. You need patience for good food. One careless step and the smell stays, then all the effort is wasted," Han explained firmly, a hint of pride in her voice. Together they worked in harmony. After more than half an hour, the last patches of residue were gone. The stomach surface was smooth and white, gleaming under the sunlight. The sharp odor had vanished, replaced by the refreshing aroma of ginger and lemongrass mingling with the heat of salt water, filling the yard with a pleasant scent. Tan stood up, wiping sweat from his forehead. Looking at the now spotless stomach, he couldn't hide his amazement. "I'm impressed. I always thought you just buy it and cook it. Who knew it was this elaborate? Turns out making a good dish is like creating a work of art." Han looked up, her eyes bright, her face beaded with sweat yet glowing with joy. "Exactly. Anything delicious takes effort. But I promise this bit of hard work will turn into a meal you'll remember forever. Especially since you've never tried this before." Tan smiled, feeling a new sense of anticipation. If even the cleaning process was this engaging, the dish itself was bound to be full of surprises. The large stomach was brought into the yard, cut open and flipped inside out. As Han scraped, she explained each step to Tan. But scraping alone wasn't enough. She had prepared a pot of boiling water and ladled it over the stomach. Steam rose thickly. The sharp initial odor wafted out, making Tan wrinkle his nose, while Han remained calm, her hands moving quickly. To get it truly clean, you need to scald it in boiling water, then scrape it several times. Once is never enough. You repeat until it shines. She dunked the entire piece into the pot, lifted it out and scraped again. The grayish buildup peeled away, running off with the water. The first time the smell lingered. The second it lessened. By the third, the inside gleamed, the odor gone. leaving only the fragrant aroma of ginger and lemongrass she had added to the pot. Tan replaced the water and watched closely, marveling. I never knew cleaning beef stomach was this much work. Watching you, I'm really impressed. It takes skill and experience. Han smiled, wiping sweat from her brow. Yes, it's meticulous, but the result is worth it. This dish is beloved by the mountain people. It's a delicacy. Down here it's rare, people snatch it up early. So stumbling on this today was my lucky chance. Hearing that, Tana's eyes lit with curiosity. So it's that special? Then I'm really fortunate today. A first in my life, and cooked by you. Definitely something to remember. After repeated scalding and scraping, the beef stomach was finally spotless. Han placed it neatly in a basket, the once sharp smell gone, replaced by the warm fragrance of ginger and lemongrass filling the yard. Tan exhaled, both relieved and eager, thinking, if the prep alone is this elaborate and fragrant, the finished dish must be an even bigger surprise. Han then set the clean stomach into a large pot, adding crushed ginger, lemongrass stalks, and coarse salt. The water soon boiled vigorously, steam curling into the air, releasing a rich, mouth-watering aroma. Tan stood with his hands on his hips, laughing. This is just the parboil, but it already smells like a feast, not just an ordinary meal. As they chatted, the sound of a familiar motorbike came from outside the gate. On saying their close friend, parked and walked in carrying a bag of fruit. Seeing the scene in the yard, he exclaimed, "Whoa, what are you two up to? Look serious." Han called out joyfully, rushing to tug his hand. Today I got so lucky. At the market I found a huge beef stomach, super rare since usually people fight to buy them early. I'm cleaning it now, about to cook some amazing dishes to treat everyone. Peered into the pot of boiling water, inhaling the fragrant steam of ginger and lemongrass, then laughed. Well, looks like I've struck gold too. Steamed with green peppercorns or tossed in a sweet and sour salad. This will be incredible. No wonder you look so excited. Tan added with a half-joking, half-serious tone. Can you believe it, An? This is the first time in my life I'll see and eat this dish. Han says it's rare and treasured. I'm as nervous as I am excited. The atmosphere in the yard grew lively. The three of them chatted as they waited for the pot to boil, laughter mingling with the fragrant steam, signaling a warm, memorable meal ahead. An set the bag of fruit down on the wooden table, squinted with a grin and said, well then let me lend a hand. Just standing around makes me feel guilty. Tana's already on the heavy work. I'll help you with the lighter tasks. Han cheerfully handed him a pair of rubber gloves. Great. Then please slice the ginger and cut the lemongrass into sections. We'll need plenty later. How lucky today is. Having both of you helping makes everything twice as fast. Tan, who was watching the pot of boiling stomach, turned back and joked. Twice as fast, but probably 3 times as noisy. Just me and Han talking already filled the yard with chatter. And now with you too, the neighbors will think we've opened a restaurant. All three burst out laughing, their voices mingling with the rich aroma of ginger and lemongrass rising from the pot. While they worked, Han enthusiastically shared her menu idea. I plan to divide the stomach into 3 dishes. 1 portion steamed with green peppercorns, another made into a sweet and sour salad for that crunchy bite, and the larger portion simmered with Chinese herbs for nourishment. That way we'll have salty, sour, and sweet flavors, both tasty and healthy. Anna's eyes sparkled. That's brilliant. I'm most excited for the peppercorn steamed one. Spicy and fragrant, perfect with a glass of corn liquor. But remember to save me a big portion. Tan chimed in eagerly. As for me, I want to try the herbal stew. I never imagined beef stomach could be cooked with medicinal herbs. Sounds like a banquet dish. Han smiled radiantly, rinsing herbs as she listened. Don't worry, both of you will have plenty. I've prepared a lot, enough for our whole group of friends. The atmosphere in the yard now was both fragrant and lively, like a small festival. The three of them worked and chatted, each filled with anticipation for the hot dishes soon to be served from that massive beef stomach. The stomach was indeed enormous. After prepping and dividing it, Han glanced at the pile of ingredients stacked across the kitchen table and laughed. There's no way the three of us can finish all this. How about we throw a little feast and invite some close friends to enjoy it together? Tan, polishing a knife, nodded in agreement. Good idea. You said this is rare, that people in the Highlands scramble to buy it at dawn. Now that we've got a whole one, why not make it a big celebration? Ang quickly agreed, his tone cheerful. Exactly. Invite some friends, make it a small party. Eating and storytelling together. It'll be a blast. At once, Han picked up her phone and called a few friends. The kind neighbor lady, the friendly block leader, and several others she wanted to share the joy with. Everyone was surprised at the news of beef stomach on the menu, and promised to come right away. The small kitchen soon turned bustling. Tan slicing aromatics on arranging tables and chairs, while Han both cooked and organized. On the stove, the pot of stomach simmered with herbs, steam billowing thickly. On the table, a bowl of sweet and sour stomach salad waited to be mixed. Nearby, the peppercorn steamed stomach was set in the steamer, its spicy fragrance filling the yard. Han stood watching the scene, her heart brimming with happiness. From a rare find at the market, she had turned it into an excuse for gathering friends and neighbors, sharing laughter and warmth, like a small holiday of family and friendship. That afternoon, Han's yard grew lively. The sounds of motorbikes echoed one after another as friends and neighbors arrived, all eager after hearing she was preparing a rare specialty dish. Chairs were arranged, the wooden table set in the middle of the yard, covered with clean cloths. On poured tea to welcome the guests, while Tan quickly carried out the fruit On had brought earlier for everyone to snack on while waiting. The air was warm and cheerful, filled with greetings and laughter. Just then, Han stepped out from the kitchen with a large stew pot. Steam billowed upwards, carrying the fragrant mix of Chinese herbs blended with the tender beef stomach. The table fell silent for a moment, then burst into exclamations of delight. "Oh wow, it smells amazing!" one friend exclaimed. "This is the first time I've seen this dish prepared so thoroughly. It must be delicious," the block leader laughed. Carefully, Han ladled each bowl. Pieces of crisp white stomach soaked with seasoning, broth glistening a clear brown, infused with mugwort, red dates and green peppercorn. Tan, sitting nearby, accepted his bowl with both hands, eyes betraying his anticipation. He glanced at Han with a small smile. "This is my first time trying this. Let's see if you can surprise me." He picked up a piece, tasted it, and his eyes widened. The perfect crunch, the heat of green peppercorn, the gentle sweetness of the broth spread across his tongue. He laughed in delight. "Wow, it's truly delicious. I never imagined beef stomach could taste like this, fragrant, crunchy, with no odor at all. Han, you really have skill." The table rang with laughter as everyone took turns eating, praising the dish. An raised a cup of corn liquor and declared, "Thanks to Han, today we get to enjoy a rare delicacy. A meal to remember for a lifetime." The atmosphere grew warmer than ever. Sitting in the center, Han listened to the laughter around her, her heart swelling with satisfaction. A stomach she had happened upon at the market had brought people together, turning an ordinary day into a small festival. When the last bowls were emptied, only a few herb sprigs and dishes remained. People leaned back in their chairs, sighing contentedly. Children ran about the yard laughing, while the elders sipped hot tea slowly, chewing betel and nodding with approval. The young men chattered excitedly about trying to hunt down the same specialty at the market. Seated among them, Tan looked around the table, his heart full of gratitude. Setting down his teacup, he spoke sincerely. "Honestly, this is the first time I've ever eaten beef stomach. I'd only heard of it before, but never knew it could be this good. Crunchy, fresh, with broth so sweet and fragrant from ginger, lemongrass, peppercorn, and herbs. It's unique, hard to compare with any other dish. Everyone nodded in agreement. An elder laughed. Hearing you describe it makes me crave another bowl. Truly, only Han could prepare it this well. In anyone else's hands, it might not even be edible. For a moment, Han fell silent, her eyes glistening as she looked around. The block leader laughed heartily, the neighbor praised endlessly. Friends snapped photos, while on clinked glasses with Tan, his face flushed from liquor. The scene warmed her heart. A simple, overflowing joy. She spoke softly, her voice tinged with happiness. At first, I only meant to cook this for just the three of us to try. But the stomach was too big, so I thought I should invite everyone. Seeing you all enjoy it so much laughing together, it makes every bit of effort since morning worth it. Han set down his cup, nodding warmly. It's not just food, Han. It's an excuse for everyone to gather, talk and reconnect. That's the most precious part. At that, Tan turned to Han, his eyes glowing in the soft lamplight. His gentle smile carried genuine emotion. I think so too. And I'll never forget today, the first time I tasted this delicacy you worked so hard to prepare. An unforgettable memory. Laughter rang out again as teacups and liquor glasses clinked together. The yard echoed with voices and joy, mingling with the lingering aroma in the air. Sitting quietly among them, Han felt her heart overflowing. The beef stomach she had stumbled upon that morning had become a bridge, binding family and friends, leaving behind a warm evening and cherished memories etched deep in every heart.
Xin chào mọi người, rất vui được gặp lại mọi người nha. Hiện tại kênh Rượu Hân của mình đang kể về câu chuyện của người mẹ đơn thân Rượu Hân, rồi người phụ nữ nhỏ tuổi nhưng phải gồng gánh bao nhiêu khó khăn nuôi được con nhỏ của mình khôn lớn. Thì hiện tại những video của mình đã được phát hành lúc 7 giờ tại khung giờ Việt Nam. Thì mọi người nhớ like, share và bật chuông thông báo để nhận thông báo khi mình đăng video mới nhất để không bỏ lỡ video nào nha. Hy vọng rằng những câu chuyện của mình đưa đến sẽ mang đến niềm vui nào đó cho mọi người mỗi khi xem để giúp mọi người có động lực hơn trong cuộc sống. Và rất mong là được sự ủng hộ của mọi người để kênh của mình ngày càng phát triển hơn. Mình sẽ có động lực để đưa những câu chuyện hay hơn đến cho mọi người. Cảm ơn mọi người đã xem video của mình. Hy vọng sẽ được gặp lại mọi người ở trong video lần sau. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại mọi người nha.